Well, all of the people in Miami Beach, that was an Air Force training center. We had, right from the beginning, we had been assigned to the Army Air Force. There was no separate Air Force at that time. And the basic training was given in Miami Beach, and then everybody was sent to a training school. I had been doing the basic training, so I was still in Florida. Then I was transferred to Lincoln Air Force Base in Nebraska. And Lincoln Air Force Base was a huge base. It had, I don't know, must have been, I can't even guess, thousands and thousands of troops. And the purpose of that base was to assemble the bombing crews, the B-24 crews that were going to be sent to Europe. They had other bases for assembling other plane crews. Well, about this time, that would be in the fall of '43, or maybe the spring of '44, must have been '43. General Marshall, Chief of Staff of the Army, had become acutely aware that the soldiers, many soldiers, didn't really know what this war was all about. And the reason for that was not only the provincialism of America at that time. In 1942, for instance, in 1942, 1 out of every 4 Americans lived on a farm or drew their primary living from agriculture. So America was very provincial at that time. And there was no such thing as a portable radio. I don't know whether they were forbidden in the training camps, but I know we never saw one. There was no such thing. They didn't exist technically. And we practically never saw a newspaper. We were so busy training for combat. I don't remember anybody, certainly I never got a newspaper from home, and I don't remember anybody that did. So we really had no knowledge of what was going on in the war. General Marshall became sensitive to this, or was sensitive to it, and he set up a program called Information and Education Program. And somebody found this letter in the file that I had been at CBS, and I was assigned to it. I did that there until the invasion of Europe, and I was the one who went around on the morning of June 6, 1944, with an army truck with a big loudspeakers announcing the invasion of Europe. And of course that was a tremendous excitement because all these crews knew they were going to be taking part in the bombing of Western Europe. And the Lincoln newspaper photographed me in my truck making the announcements, and that photograph I have in my papers down in Texas. It is in the papers down in Texas. I remember that clearly. It's funny that I do not remember the circumstances where I was or what I was doing on VJ Day, but I do remember them from VE Day, where there was a tremendous parade, spontaneous parade in Lincoln, Nebraska, in April of '45, when we were celebrating the end of the war in Europe. And so the B-24 was being phased out because the B-29s were necessary for the air war against Japan because of their longer range and greater power. So they were cutting back, closing down Lincoln Air Force Base, and they transferred me first to Fort Douglas in Utah. I'd never been out there, and then that was Salt Lake City, and then to Los Angeles. And where did they put me? But the Armed Forces Recruiting Service in Los Angeles.